Hi guys, this is Dave Bennett from Theme2HTML.com, and it is April 9th, 2015, and I'm going to release something called Theme2HTML Automation, or T2HA, T2H Automation, T2HA. And this is something that we have actually been creating because a programmer paid for this development. This is a $50,000 system that we built, and it's absolutely crazy, massive, powerful. This is for big players, guys with big plans or guys in big positions who want to think as big as you can think about where to go now. And here's why now. What is happening, if you don't know, on April 21st, Google is making a couple of major ranking update changes that are going to affect everyone for all time. There are two things happening on April 21st that haven't happened before. One of them, when it comes to ranking factors, one of them is mobile readiness, and that means responsive themes. That means Google's going to care and rank accordingly whether your site is able to be easily seen on a mobile phone. Okay? Viewable on a mobile phone, mobile ready, or responsive. The other element to that, something Google also wants, is for your website to have no coding errors, okay? Which is a really big deal because this has never really happened before. Most people don't know how to code. And of course, Google's always understood that. And so Google always overlooked your errors, okay? And just figured out what kind of content you had on your pages, your videos, and so forth, and figured out how to rank you one way or the other anyway, to the degree it could understand your web page around your errors. Well, now we have a trifecta that's come out. That's HTML5 coupled with CSS3 coupled with Bootstrap, which is the rest of it. That's like the jQuery, the JS, the libraries that contain all the major bits of coding for reference for standard styling, and this is why new websites kind of look the way they do. Now it's a really big deal to build your website the new way, and that's where you see a lot of vertical bars that tend to stretch all the way across the page, and it seems to come in chunks like that. When you see that, that tends to represent what you're looking at, HTML5 coupled with CSS3 and Bootstrap. Now, here, I want to show you a couple of sites like that and show you what I mean, because we're going to talk about the HTML validator so you can take a look at the quality of your website. Two things you want to know. One is, if you look at a website like this, okay, this is specifically latest coding quality and everything else. All right, this is sort of stuff we did. By the way, this was done a year ago, and we didn't do it for HTML5 CSS3 when we did it. Actually, what was that, a year and a half ago? But now we are, of course, so everything we produce is as modern as coding gets, okay? As modern as coding can be. And that's what you need now because Google's going to make that matter moving forward. Here's why. HTML5, CSS3, and Bootstrap, when used together, mean that programmers can make a website now without too much hassle when it comes to coding. They can basically make the website error-free just by doing what they're supposed to be doing anyway. And that way, Google can really understand what the website is all about. So this is going to become a ranking factor. Google's kind of given us a year or two to learn about it, to study it, to get into it, and to decide it matters. So now it really, really matters, and your website should be built this way. And if it isn't built this way, it's going to become an issue. Now this, for example, is an award-winning website voted on by hundreds of website designers who were showing their websites to each other in different major theme engines where you can go and buy themes. So this was voted on as best design, best coding. By the way, what do we mean when we say coding? I need to show people that. We're talking about the validator, and this is a good place to go. Validator.w3.org for W3C. Validator.w3.org. And the validator is where you go to find out if your website is coded properly or not. Most people don't know what this is. They've never been here. But this isn't even Google speaking anymore. This isn't Microsoft speaking anymore. This isn't just some third party. This is where everyone goes. This is where Google goes, where Microsoft goes to find out what the guys who created HTML are saying is right or wrong about HTML codes. Okay, this is as high up the ladder you get when it comes to deciding the quality of coding on your website. Okay, so what I like to do is point something out. How well does something like this stack up? Okay, so when we look at this really high quality website, this is a big deal. Okay, All right, then let's just see how that looks. Okay, this is just a page we're checking out. Okay, this document was successfully checked as HTML5. All right, awesome. Now there were a couple of warnings, but we don't care about the warnings. They're informational only, and that's just where they make little suggestions that you can care about or not. This doesn't have to do with Google per se. This is basically for your own information. Okay. This isn't about ranking. This is about just simple HTML coding in the first place, getting your coding right. Okay. Now, let's take a look at the other site. Again, these checks are free. You can just go and check, which is awesome. This service is really, really wonderful. And thank goodness it's free because everyone needs to use it all the time with their web pages, especially moving forward. Again, we got some warnings. It's a really big site with a lot happening on it. If you go to different pages, you'll see tons of different elements of things taking place and happening. And depending on what you click on and what you do, there's many things going on here. Okay, and that's okay, but it is completely successfully checked, and that's what Google cares about the most. All right, that's a big deal. On the 21st, this is going to matter more than ever. The other thing is, if you went to either one of these websites, okay, and you look at them on a mobile phone, they will look good. Let me give you an example. If I open up Firefox right now, there is a feature that you can check on Firefox. I'm going to show you in a minute. And that feature is to check for mobile readiness. Let's see. Yeah, if I can just go there. Okay, check this out. So you're staring at your website on the page. Now, if you hit Shift Control, Control Shift, okay, Control Shift, at the same time, hold down Control and Shift and hit the letter M for mobile. Control Shift M, okay, check that out. It shows you what your website will look like at different sizes. So you can see whether your website is responsive. And that's what responsive means. It means that it's responding to the size of the screen. Okay? This is the concept of a website being responsive. So you can check down to, and they have predefined sizes for things, mobile phones of different sizes, and you can make sure that your website is mobile ready and whatever it's supposed to be. Now, some of the stuff may or may not matter in this view. You'd have to actually check a mobile phone to see the right result. But this is called mobile ready, okay? And that is a big, big deal. All right, this is the other thing Google's going to care about on the 21st. All right, now let me come back and point something out. When that happens, when these two things kick into play, and let me just flip off of this because it's so much to see, right? Okay, when that kicks into play, it's going to affect the entire internet. Google is going to say now, basically, and a bunch of results on a bunch of pages are just going to flip around. That's because of the ranking requirements for the better coding and especially for the mobile readiness. But mobile readiness and great coding together usually means you're in best shape with HTML5, CSS3, and Bootstrap. Now, most people don't have websites like that at all. I want to show you an example of what I mean because here is where the market's going to go in a frenzy for 2 years. And if you know anything about making money on the internet, selling high quality websites when the time comes is the most important thing to do. It's one of the best ways to make money. And even if you're not selling them, using them for your downline if you have it, or if you're a franchise owner and you have a lot of franchisees, making those templates available, or if you want to create a template shop, you can make a ton of money becoming your own theme forest or your own whatever theme store. Okay, and I'm going to show you a path to get there because this comes right back to what we're doing. Now, let me point this out. My brother still lives in Elkhart. I was living there for a while. I'm from South Bend, right next door. And I just called him on the phone. I said, hey, I said, let's take a look at something. I said, if you had plumbers near you, we were talking about this, the whole April 21st thing. I said, if you have plumbers nearby, and you have a plumbing issue in your house and you send out a call just for any plumber to come to you, about how many are within range? How many are competitors who could show up at your residence and take care of your plumbing issue? He thought about it. It was like, okay, Elkhart, Goshen, South Bend, Mishawaka, the surrounding area, maybe low end 20, high end 40, so something like 20 to 40 plumbers. Said, all right, so 20 to 40 competing plumbers in the area, right, might show up to help you out. Said, okay. I said, of them, how many of them do you think have a website? He said, most, but not all. Some are just going to put some notes up in a directory to give them a call, but they don't really have a website. Some put their entries in yellow pages. I said, okay. So we agreed probably 30 real competitors, guys with real websites in the area. Said, all right, now that we know that, I said, how many do you think have high quality websites? The websites that pass the validator check, like this, okay? And they're HTML5, not the older style X transitional and XHTML, okay? 1.0 and so on. Maybe three. That was his answer, maybe three, out of the whole 30, right? 1/10 of them even know at all to do that. It's like, okay, so most of these guys are going to have bad websites, right? And if you had a really good website, you could outrank somebody, especially after the 21st, by just getting your website updated. That can really, really help. And everyone agrees that's true. That's what the 21st is going to do to people. So we came to the front page for Oak Art Plumbing for the heck of it, and we just said, okay, here's the ads, but forget the ads. I mean, it's fun to to see them, but let's take a look at this. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the organics. And so we open them on a different tab. Now, that's the first site. That happens to be a copy of the same site. It's Oak Art Products, Oak Art Products. Okay. So I just opened that one in one tab, and then I opened another one in another tab, another one in another tab, and that's what I did with all these on the front page. So I got like 9 tabs of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And we just went to see how they're doing in terms of coding. For anyone that doesn't know, most websites fail checks. Errors found while checking this document as HTML5. These guys still manage to get some errors. That is a no-no. That's bad. That's scary, especially if you have a lot of errors. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, look at this. 8 errors, 3 warnings. Doesn't seem worse than this, except check this out. Errors found while checking this document is HTML 4.01 transitional. You know what? That's old. That's not HTML5. It's HTML4. Okay? That's a problem. All right? Again, this kind of stuff is going to start to matter and matter a lot. Okay? I don't know how many new ranking tweaks are going to come out of this moving forward for the 21st anyway, but we do know this. Google wants everyone to have HTML5 websites. Most people don't, and it's a mistake because in those days when people built them, they never even thought about fixing the errors. If you wanted to hire someone to come in and fix your errors, it was like $10 an error, right? Sometimes $100 an error. Just depends on how tough the errors are. You could bring a guy in to fix your errors and have a ton of errors in your site, and they may charge you $2,000 just to fix the errors. And you still can wind up with a site that doesn't look right on a mobile phone. That's not responsive, but that's not their job. They're not trying to make your site responsive, they're trying to fix the errors, right? That's the problem with the HTML4. This stuff wasn't built to be error-free, okay? Let's take a look at this. Oh, nice. Here's one guy, that's lefeverph.com. Okay, just remember the name because I got these guys in Firefox. We're going to take a look to see if they're mobile ready in a minute. Okay, their document was checked successfully, but as XHTML 1.1. Oh my God, old coding. Again, old coding. Does this thing look good on a mobile phone? Probably not. Okay, again, look at this. Document can't even be checked. It's missing something so basic that it can't even be checked. That's not good. This is going to be a problem. When Google's going to be more and more interested in proper coding, this is a problem. That's going to be the buyer frenzy that's going to be set up for you. It's so lucky because it's going to be like if you set up a shop, people are going to come running to check it out no matter what. It's almost like that. And if you have a group of people you can service who have old style stuff, which is like everyone, nearly everyone, 95% of all English-based websites on the internet are not HTML5. They're XHTML, they're HTML 4.01, okay? That these guys all need your help, all right? And it's just, they're going to see it because they're going to take a lot of big dings, and that's going to be it. Have you guys had a ding on Google lately? Here's what you need to do. All right, let me continue. This one was checked, but again, XHTML 1.0 transitional. What is the website? Central-hardware.com, okay? Remember that name, central-hardware.com, okay? Let's continue. Okay, errors found while checking this document is HTML5. Okay. Oh man, this guy's bad. HTML5 but 31 errors. That's bad, right? That's not good. Okay, this stuff is going to be a problem. Now, it doesn't mean, by the way, I just want to throw in the quick disclaimer. Just because a guy has errors or doesn't have errors does not mean that their site can be calculated to drop a certain distance in rank or rise, because these are not the only ranking factors. But Google really cares about this stuff a lot for all the obvious reasons. It's a problem for Google servers to try to deal with our errors if we can fix that so that Google doesn't have the errors to screw with. It's so much easier to move forward properly if the document doesn't have errors and it can be read easily. Okay, that's what's happening now. And mobile readiness. Google says huge emphasis on that. People aren't pushing it enough, and so that needs to be pushed. And so Google's pushing it now. So anyone who's in the market who can provide top quality HTML5 templates that are error free and show up mobile ready, that's a really big deal. We're going to get into that chat really, really soon. Okay, next thing. Again, 16 errors. Okay, 23 errors. XHTML 1.0 transitional. By the way, this isn't strange. When I do a search for something, any industry, I don't care what it is, plumbing, doctors, dentists, lawyers, we got locksmiths now, chocolatiers, everybody else, okay? Doesn't matter, right? And especially the money-making crowd, and probably everything you see on ClickBank, where those websites never rank for anything anyway. The only good those are for affiliates to come running in and sell them manually. Now I've laid all this out, okay? Now, here would be a question. What if you could walk to one of these guys and say, hey, these guys are going to be taking a hit. What if we can do something for you? What if we can create, and you might be thinking it already, what if we create you an HTML5 CSS3 bootstrap ready site that's mobile ready and everything looks good and da 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 da. Oh yeah, I was going to show you the mobile ready templates on those two sites, the Lefevre, that's the Central Hardware, and the Lefevre. I just want to make the point real quick. You can already tell, can't you, just looking at the page? Obviously, it's not HTML5. Obviously, this is probably not going to be a mobile-ready website template at all. And if we do it again, Control-Shift-M for mobile, obviously not mobile-ready, right? This is not mobile-ready. You cannot read it. The wording doesn't wrap properly, okay? The other one, again, Control-Shift-M. Again, not mobile-ready. As the site comes down, you can't read this, okay? These things run a huge chance of being dinged a lot. Except what? There's nowhere to ding them. These are the top 10 results. And like so many other cases, these are the top 10 results and they're all garbage in terms of website cleanliness, right? And if you want to take off and try to compete now, what do you think would be the first thing you would do to really, really compete with these guys? The answer would be create a website, make it HTML5 CSS3 bootstrap ready, make sure it's mobile ready, right? Yes, that matters a lot because when these guys get reshuffled, they can't fall any lower. Them and the guys on page 2, 3, 4 probably all have the same kind of thing. XHTML transitional 1.0, right? Websites, old style stuff. And that again goes for most companies in the nation. Most companies have bad websites. The good websites you see are because they rank better. Google ranks them faster. We see that when they're indexing, they index faster. Top quality websites index faster. Error-free websites index faster. Much easier for Google's bots to read and their servers to go through and analyze and figure everything out. It's a real big deal. Okay. Now, what if, and you might think the next thing is this, well, what if we make the website and then turn around and do a huge Moji run on it? Okay, that's a ton of pages on a website covering all the different keyword combinations. That's great, but we've got something new. Themed HTML automation is a different kind of a beast. Okay, that's what I want to get into now, because now you're going to say something else. You're going to say to the guy, what if we say this? You have 30 competitors, most of them have lousy websites, but when they get reshuffled after the 21st, they're still going to look about the same because no one has great websites. There's no one to shove up the rank. What if we created more websites for you? not web pages on one website. I'm saying more websites, that one and 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 that one. What if we create more websites for you than all of your competitors combined? What if we create 3 times as many websites for you as all of your competitors combined? And every one of them is error-free coding, mobile ready, top quality, HTML5, CSS3, bootstrap websites. You think you could clean house just on sheer size that way? They can be 5-page websites. We could Moji one of them. We could Moji all of them, but we don't really have to. Not anyway, because we could create 20, 50, 100 full websites just for that guy that are all great. And so I'm going to show you what theme to HTML automation is all about. Okay, it's really huge, and you'll get this idea. So I'll cut this off at this point in this video and then start that in the next video. These are just going to get too long. Okay, so that was that. I'm going to break into what theme to HTML automation is in the next video, and you'll get the idea. We'll walk you through it. Okay.